Hello everybody, welcome back to another day of training every single day. This is about day 390 something. This is about the first day in the past couple weeks that I'm resuming a normal level of intensity for me. Incorporating back into my nighttime stretching routine. I still have to manage my hips some, but it is functionally, I can still do a lot of the things I like to do. I'm just not going to push the hips for a couple weeks. I start off in the morning with a lot of core work, a little bit of handstands, a lot of V-sit progression. I'd like to flow in between a lot of my movements, working a little bit of stretching, and I also work with the medicine ball today. Medicine ball is a very versatile way to train the rotational aspect of your movement. There's the frontal plane, the lateral plane, the rotational plane. The rotational plane is often underlooked because the movements are a little bit more complicated, but they are a very rewarding use of the full body, making you coordinate the entire body. So I recommend training your rotational plane of movement. Swinging of the medicine ball in the squat was meant to train some of the lower legs without really emphasizing the hips or the knees so they can really recover and get a lot of progress back into that position. I also got a little bit into the head and hand balancing. It's been quite a while since I've done some hand balancing, so I think the headstand is a pretty good way to, I guess, get back to the inversion and training my inversion balances. It's been a lot of plateau due to not training some of the skills like the handstand. So I'm getting back into it so I can get the handstand balance a little bit better. I think the handstand alignment was pretty good. I was trying for a max hold with a really good alignment. I was able to get really good alignment here, so that was good. The whole time was not too impressive, but it's just another step along this long journey. This time I'm switching the hands back to behind where my fingers are facing backwards. This puts a little bit more challenge on the arms and is a bit more close to the positions that I like to do V-sits and mana positions in. So that's good. And then I regress it back down to a L-sit hold because the overall challenge of the V-sit and the windshield wipers I was doing, they challenge a lot of muscles, so not a single muscle really gets fatigued, so it's pretty good to superset it in with the easier exercise instead of the other way around with going with the easier exercise and the harder ones. I test a little bit of my mobility. I took a little bit of a break from overhead squat mobility just to let it recover some, so I didn't push it too hard like I was the past couple days. Now here I train the lower body with a single leg balance and rotations with the medicine ball. Again, medicine balls really challenge the entire body if you use rotational movements. And if you made it this far in the video, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and motivates me to make better videos for you that you can enjoy, learn from, and get motivated from. This was something I probably could spend a little bit more time doing. I really enjoyed this single leg balance here. I felt it really activate the lower legs like the calf muscles and the feet and the ankles. And I think it builds a little bit of the knees in a not so intense way that I normally train in. So even though I was, let's just say I was injured, I wouldn't really call it an injury, just a little mismanagement of fatigue. But since my hip was, I'll say injured, don't give up. There's always going to be setbacks that you have to deal with. You should always plan for things going wrong because that's one of the only things that you can really plan for is that something will go wrong, nothing will go perfect. So don't give up no matter what the challenges is, no matter how grim it looks. You got to just keep going, keep putting in the effort and do it until you can't do it anymore. As long as there's still breath in your lungs and you're still alive, you can always change any aspect of your body for the better. It might not be up to a world-class level, but you can make very big improvements. So don't give up. Now I'm on to the nighttime stretching. I took a bit of a break from nighttime stretching. I still did some stretching in the past, but it was not the same intensity that I did. For me, I think the frontal plane on my hips are really good because of the V-sit. It's just a lot of the lateral movements in the hips that I think I need to fortify in the future. So once my hip recovers, I think I'm going to make a transition to not train so much the frontal plane up for the hips, but really try to get a lot more lateral movement, more dynamic, less intensity so I can really build up the hips. Back to the bridge, I'm really happy to say my bridges are, my shoulders don't get aggravated at all from this. My bridges are back to 100%, so I'm feeling good about taking it slow and not really pushing it too far because my bridges are pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. Again, still trying to keep it dynamic because I think the problem I had with the bridge was I was staying too static and just trying to push and get deeper and deeper into the shoulders and the back, which eventually you need to branch out your base. And when I think about a base, I think it's having the main position so that you can move around comfortably and build out and around the position. I'll go for the handstand to make an easier example. Once you can hold some sort of a handstand, you should, try to walk around, spin around, move your legs a lot before you really try to hone in on a very strong straight line handstand. And that's the position I'll take with the bridge. I'm going to try to move around a lot before trying to get really, really deep. I'm going to try to really have a rock solid foundation with just any sort of bridge. And once I can really master all the basic movements that come along with the bridge, I'm going to branch back out to try to get back to my hollow back training, which is just a bridge without your feet on the ground. Now, if you notice, my hips were a little bit tight on the pancake stretch, so I didn't really push it. On my left side, you could see that I was taking it easy, just trying to get some motion and putting a lot of weight on my hands to make it easier on the lower body, while still getting back into some stretching that I haven't done in quite a while. This movement right here is trying to build some squat mobility. I'm not too sure about that movement. I'm going to have to really think about how to really improve my squat in a lot of ways. I think that the medicine ball rotations are a pretty good way to challenge the lower back and a lot of the small muscles that might get overworked. This is kind of a recovery movement here. I really do recommend everyone do this. It's a pretty good stretch of a lot of the core, the legs, and some of the posterior muscles. After I do a little bit of a tabletop, pretty good movement again too. That's a little easier than the bridge. If you can't do a bridge, I recommend doing a tabletop position, the crab position, and you can move around in it and explore that a lot more. And then I'm getting into the fingertips training. I go into a lot more detail in the tutorial playlist where I go over how to build up some fingertip handstands. Not fingertip handstands, but fingertip push-ups, and have some really good insights if you want to check that out. But the idea is to train each finger individually, working all the ranges of motion, and really have a grip on the ground, as much grip as you can with a single finger. But you really want to have one finger, a really strong connection with the ground, and then move it in forwards, backwards, the side-to-side motions. And the only tip I really have to say that's pretty easy to grasp is if you're going to train your fingers, start with your pinky, because if you train your strongest fingers down to your pinky will be too tired, even though you didn't train it at all, because your littlest three fingers are all controlled by the same kind of muscle in the forearm. So train the pinky first, and you'll be able to train all the fingers. Don't forget to train the thumb. Thumb's a very powerful and important finger, the most important finger. Your most important fingers go from your thumb, then your pinky, then your pointer, and then the last two are kind of the same. So spend some time training some of the smaller body parts. There's not a lot of muscles in the fingers, mainly tendons, so they have a little bit of a different training than you would with muscles because they don't have a blood supply. They take a lot longer to recover, but they also hold their strength a lot better as you age. So I've been told. I'm very young at the moment. After I do the fingertips, I also train the feet like that. A pretty similar concept. I'm still trying to really develop the feet and the toes to be a very strong muscle group They should have a similar dexterity to the hands because a lot of your brain activity is connected with your feet. Get some barefoot shoes, walk around with some bare feet, really gets that connection with the ground. And don't forget to train your neck. I'm only doing the back, the head behind the back, because I think that's the posture I need to train the most in. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.